This is Ramon, channels Alpha 4, and given recent events, I've been thinking about what makes a good leader, historically speaking, and what makes a horrible leader. See, to me, good leaders are Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, maybe even Pericles. And bad leaders would be Ferris of Epirus, Nero, Caligula, my cat, who's making noise right now. But are they great leaders or are they horrible leaders? Julius Caesar would say a great leader is someone who knows the name of his men, is someone who leads from the front, who is brave and courageous. But Julius Caesar also overthrew a republic. He crossed the Rubicon. He took over a free land and conquered and killed many people. And I'm not just talking about Rome. I'm talking about Gaul. I'm talking about southern Britain. Well, what about Alexander the Great? A personal hero of mine. Well, the thing about him is that he broke every rule in the book. He killed and slaughtered thousands. Yes, he had honorable intentions, and his leadership style, you could say, was Aristotelian. The golden mean, piety, honor. But he died young because his passions were too strong. But what about Pericles? A bastion of democracy. Well, Pericles died of a plague and in ill repute. They hated him after his death. They thought that his leadership was the reason Athens fell to Sparta. So then, what about the horrible leaders? Well, Ferris is one of the great generals to suffer one of the worst defeats of all time. A Pyrrhic victory is named after him. It's a victory that's so disastrous that it costs more than it's worth. His career ended in his death. And his death was maybe a blessing to Epirus, because his victory over Rome cost them their political future. Well, what about Caligula? Nobody can argue that Caligula was a monster at the end, right? But he didn't start off as a monster. See, people were happy that he was going to be emperor. They thought of Little Boots as the John F. Kennedy Jr. of their time. Caligula was their new hope after his uncle, the emperor before, was a monster. But then Caligula got sick, and when he came back, he just wasn't right. And all the disastrous, monstrous things that followed. Well, what about Nero? Revelations in the Bible is about Nero. He has to be a monster, right? Well, I don't know. Was he? Did the Romans hate him? The people in lands that Rome had conquered hated him, sure. He persecuted Christians, Jews, okay. Yeah, he did those things. But did the average Roman citizen who was a pagan hate Nero? I don't know. Suetonius would have you believe, Plutarch would have you believe, the good were the victorious, the bad ended in defeat. But what does that mean for us today? Is Donald Trump going to be a monster? Or is he going to be the hero America needs? I don't know. I really wish I did. But I can tell you that how he's going in might not be how we remember him, either historically or at the end of his political run. Because leaders can come in as heroes and they can leave as villains. And they can come in marred, but leave a lasting legacy that is remembered fondly. So I don't know what the political future holds for America. But I do know in ancient Greece and in ancient Rome, and in other ancient cultures, great heroes rose from mediocrity, and great villains rose from glory, or fell therefore. But regardless if you're a Gentile like me, a sinner, or if you're someone in ancient times who was conquered by Rome, if you're pagan, Christian, Jew, Carthaginian, you had your heroes, you had Hannibal, and you had your villains. But the villain of the Carthaginians, Scorpius Africanus, was the hero to the Romans. Genghis Khan and Attila the Hun were the heroes to the Mongols and the Huns. Depends on what side of history you're on. I hope we are on the right side of history. Liberty, freedom, democracy, equality. God, I hope so.